My name is Dr. William Oda, and I am the National Chair of NSPN, and I'll be your MC this weekend. It is wonderful to introduce you. Another beautiful, warm, sunny day here in Southern California. It's not a little chilly at all, nothing like that. It feels like just yesterday that I started to explore the field of science policy. It was really amazing to participate in the California Council of Science and Technology Science Translator Showcase, the UC Center Sacramento STEM Solutions Competition, to participate as a member of the University of California Riverside Science to Policy chapter, and go on to become a part of NSPN. These experiences are what led me to where I am today, speaking to all of you, and having the opportunity to support the 12 superstars who make up NSPN's Leadership Council, who made all the programming that we have here today possible, alongside with the amazing members of UC Riverside Science to Policy chapter. Before I continue, there's one person who I have to thank, someone who I wouldn't be here without their help. Susan Hackwood, CCST's founder and my mentor, was absolutely instrumental to making all of what we do possible, and I want to thank her and recognize her. Thank you so much, Susan, for all you've done for the field of science policy. It has been a long time since our last in-person meeting at Madison, Wisconsin in 2019. I actually see a lot of the same faces that I met there for the first time here today, and I'm so thankful for all of your continued support of NSPN. All of what I've already shared makes it even more special for me to introduce you to Christopher Nelson, the President and CEO at the Association of Science and Technology Centers. Mr. Nelson joins 3 other esteemed advisory board members, including Robbie Barbara, Donna Reardon, and our very own UCR, S2P, and CCST founder, Susan Hackwood. As advisors, they shape the future of NSPN. Please join me in welcoming Chris Nelson to the stage.
Thank you so much, Will. The height difference between the two of us, I got to make sure that this works. Good morning, NSPN. This is fabulous to be here with you all. I am out here from Washington, D.C., and while you could have gotten some sunnier weather for me, I'm thrilled to be with you all, and I'm thrilled to be spending a week with you. It's a really exciting time for this network and this organization. I'm truly honored to be asked about a year ago to join the advisory board and to get to help you all in the work that you're trying to accomplish, the careers that you're shaping for yourselves. And I want to just invite you all to come up and say hi, introduce yourselves. I want to get to know you, as Will said, throughout the course of the next week or weekend. It's not a whole week. I've been traveling a lot. I don't know where I am right now. But because it's such an exciting time for the organization, I am really, really, really thrilled to get to introduce you to the person who's going to really lead this organization into its next phase. And who I get to introduce as the first executive director of this organization. Dr. Tapring Pescado, who's a neuroscientist, a policy director, a nonprofit leader. She's got 2 decades of experience that she brings into this work. And I want to really encourage you to go read her full bio, go read her full interview, but I want to just hit the highlights for you so you know what an incredible badass, we can say that, right? What an incredible badass you have at the helm of this organization. Tapring's career began with training in computer science at Georgetown University, followed by a master's degree and a PhD in neuroscience at Brandeis University. Her leadership in policy began as a fellow with the California Legislature's Council on Science and Technology. She really, really lived that organization's mission to provide scientific expertise to policymakers as she served as the chief policy director at the California Issues Forum and senior advisor for government affairs at Chamber of Progress. Most recently, she was at the RAND Corporation. Tapring served as senior policy researcher and professor at the Pardee RAND Graduate School. She taught on all of the things that we're going to be talking about here this weekend: ethics, policy design, policy and action. She published research on using digital tools to increase inclusivity in hiring for the public and private sector. She talked about how inclusivity and excellence go together in that public sector work. Really, really, really great work in expanding our collective knowledge and practical applications of how to do work that's so central, that we all care about so much. Throughout her career, a real dedication to diversity, inclusion, and equity has been at the core of her career. She served as the inaugural chair for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the RAND Corporation, and is a member of the Diversity and Inclusion Commission of the California Council on Science and Technology. She's really taken those practices and put them in action in many different organizations, and I know is going to take them and put them into action here at NSPN. Again, that is just scratching the surface of all of the awesome things that this woman brings to this organization, and why I am thrilled to introduce her and thrilled to get to work with her along with all of you to shape the pathway that this organization has to come. Please join me in a very warm welcome for Dr. T'Pring Pescado.
Thank you, Chris, for that gracious introduction. You did forget to mention that I ran for public office, and I'm super honored to be next to someone that actually won. We'll get to that later. Thank you so much. It is my privilege and honor to be the first executive director for NSPN. Together, we're going to uphold the vision of our founders to unite and develop scientists to engage meaningfully and fully in the policy-making process. This mission is as crucial today as it ever was, especially as we face a more complex and challenging world. I'm thrilled to see you guys all here. Over the course of this weekend, we have over 300 registries. We have over 20 sessions. Seems like we were making bags for the speakers. There were 40 speakers, 2 keynotes, congressmen, people from UC, the University of California system. I just want to say that this is a spectacular group of people, and it actually starts with you in the audience today. So without you, we would not have a program, so thank you. Here we will share our diverse experiences and knowledge. Here we will deepen our understanding of science and policy. Here we seek to inspire and be inspired. Let's ignite new ideas, provoke thoughtful dialogue, and kindle a passion for science policy. We want to drive our knowledge, skills, and abilities forward so that we can succeed and thrive in our careers that ultimately create the change that's needed in our world. Finally, I'd like to reflect on a very fascinating aspect about bees. Queen bees were not born that way. They're actually nurtured by bathing in what you see on the screen called royal jelly, okay? It sets them apart from their other hive larvae. It's a royal jelly that's nutritious and excluding anything that's junk food, like honey and pollen. So think of the discussions and sessions that you'll be hearing today, this weekend, as your form of royal jelly. Nourish your potential to lead and influence science policy in whatever way you choose, whatever way suits you. But I encourage you to connect with people, to learn from the amazing mentors and speakers that we have gathered today, and immerse yourself in this unique occasion to become your own royal bee. So thank you so much for being here. I really am excited to meet all of you. I know I've spent some time at breakfast talking with the table over there from Columbia and Emory and Madison and Irvine. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to engaging with you for the rest of the conference and symposium. And I turn the rein back to our great MC, Will. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Pring for that warm welcome this morning. I'm so excited to introduce our next speaker and share a little bit about them, Congressman Mark Takano. Congressman Takano was born and raised here in Riverside, served as a teacher in the Rialto School District, and worked to improve higher education for young people and job training opportunities for adults here in Riverside. Congressman Takano continued to represent his community as the first openly gay person of color to be elected to Congress in 2012. He represents our community, the 39th District in the United States House of Representatives. And when I first met Congressman Takano as the chair of UC Riverside Science Policy in 2019, I immediately could tell that he was truly a staunch supporter of this campus and the new Science Policy program we had started. He hosted the very first UC Science to Policy Fellow, Derek Carter House, who worked to improve veteran access to healthcare, and has gone on to host 3 more fellows, and we cannot thank him enough for his work to grow what Science to Policy is here at UC Riverside. It is now my honor to welcome Congressman Mark Takano to the stage.
Well, good morning, everybody. I want to welcome all of you on behalf of the people of the 39th Congressional District. It's my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome you all to the Inland Empire. I share the stage today with a number of dedicated and thoughtful leaders, scientific leaders, who have endeavored to make today a reality. Teresa Maldonado, Vice President of Research and Innovation at the University of California's Office of the President. That's the Office of the President, y'all. It's the UC system. Rodolfo Torres, Vice Chancellor for Research and Economic Development, UC Riverside. Tepring Picado, Executive Director of the National Science Policy Network. And you know, Susan Hackwood is not sitting up here, but she's in the audience there. But I remember Susan Hackwood back when Dr. Picado was running for Congress for the first and second time in the early 90s. So this is the third time was the charm. So it took me 3 times. So, you know, if you want to, whatever it was you're running for, you really want to do it, you got to stay persistent. And be the emblem, the emblematic, and she persisted, right? And, you know, I'm looking at this room and seeing like over half the people look to be of the female gender in science. And I think we owe Dr. Hackwood, you know, some of that pioneering credit for being an early leader in getting more women into science. And I think of my friend, the late Pam Clute, who was on this campus, and she used to tell the misogynistic stories of the ancient Greeks and just the way that we have, you know, taken diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we don't consider those dirty words here at University of California, Riverside. They're trying to even rebrand it because some of my colleagues have misguidingly tried to turn them into the enemy, when we know that diversity, equity, inclusion make us all stronger, and it's going to make science better. So let's give them all a hand, and all the organizers a hand. And onward to the National Science Policy Symposium. Now, many of you who have just arrived in the Inland Empire for the first time are surely beginning to experience the unique offerings of the region. We are really, truly blessed here with great natural beauty and amazing resources, rolling hills, sprawling orange groves. And by the way, the orange groves were the origin of this university. It began as an agricultural research. Citrus. Citrus was like a huge industry, made Riverside one of the most richest per capita communities in the nation. And that begat the scientific research on how to, support the industry. Amazing application of science to an existing industry. Our cities and towns are chock full of architecture. Go down to the Mission Inn if you haven't seen it yet, and our Spanish architecture downtown. Be sure to go to the Cheech Museum of Chicano art. And I don't know if it's going to be open this weekend, but at the Center for Social Justice at Riverside Community College, just down the street, is an amazing collection of the art of Mineo Kubo, who was one of the painters who painted during the internment experience. One of the first people to actually write a book about the internment of Japanese Americans. And her art that spans beyond that is at that museum, is at the Center for Social Justice. Our cities and towns are chock full of all of this architecture, art, and mouth-watering food. And we come from diverse backgrounds, but we are united in our desire to make this community and the world a better place. And I would know about that because I grew up here in Riverside in this swirling kaleidoscope of cultures and peoples. I am the son of a family of immigrants, and my family found its home here. And that sense of community, of place, is so important for any number of reasons, but it's particularly important for this year's symposium. The theme that you all have chosen is local to global innovation. That sounds so grand and sounds so weighty, but let's actually take apart what these words mean. To me, it touches upon a crucial truth that too often we are prone to talking about the major policy challenges facing our country and the world in a top-down approach. And this means that people feel disconnected from massive, abstract-sounding issues. And when they're disconnected, they're less motivated to make a difference. It gives rise to a feeling of maybe, being alone and loneliness and detachment. This symposium asks us to think about how we can do things differently, about how to use our natural affinity and the unique power of local communities to scale up, to reach global issues. So let's take climate change. For many of us, it feels like a massive problem, a distant and far away challenge. But when we reframe it toward the immediate environmental concerns in front of us, say if you live in Idaho and dealing with wildfires, or if you're in North Carolina, the rising sea levels in North Carolina, we're starting to force ourselves to confront a macro problem at a very local and micro level. But by the same token, by empowering and drawing on the unique talents at the local level, we have the ability to scale up to reach global challenges. So it's especially important for those of us at the federal level to keep this in mind when we craft policy. Sometimes the political dynamics of Washington pull lawmakers and presidents in the wrong direction, to think big, but bloated and directionless as a result. In contrast, I'm proud that the Biden administration and many of my colleagues in Congress have taken the right approach by steering investments to the state and local level. At the state level, I'm very thrilled that the University of California-backed consortium called the Alliance for Renewable Clean Hydrogen Energy Systems, or the acronym is ARCHES, successfully won a grant from the Department of Energy that will steer up to $1.2 billion in federal funding toward 39 hydrogen infrastructure projects up and down the state of California. Now, can we pause for a second and recognize that? $1.2 billion toward clean hydrogen all across California. I remember when I was first a candidate trying to get the support of some of the folks around here in 1992, I came here to meet with the folks that were running the very new CSERT, and they were experimenting with a hydrogen vehicle. What would those scientists of yesteryear think about this $1.2 billion investment? And I just remember one of them saying, it's like the pittance that was being allocated back in that decade, we now are seeing I think, an investment commensurate with the promise of this technology. Overall, ARCHES will generate over 200,000 jobs and are projected to reduce carbon emissions by 2 million metric tons annually, which is the same as removing 445,000 gasoline-powered cars from the roads. Additionally, by replacing diesel engines that emit harmful exhaust with pollution-free fuel cells, Californians are expected to save nearly $3 billion in health care and associated costs each year. California benefits, but also so does the wider world. And where did that money come from? The president's bipartisan infrastructure law. Now, this is government working at the regional and local level to take on a global issue in a smart, thoughtful way. Take another of the president's signature achievements impacting our community, the CHIPS and Science Act. This landmark legislation, which has helped spur more than $166 billion in semiconductors and electronics, is having a direct impact on our region in the Lithium Valley Clean Tech Hub. UC Riverside worked with local governments, academic institutions, and others to successfully secure these dollars, which makes sense. And as some of you may know, lithium is poised to change much of this region. The Salton Sea, not a far drive from here, has suffered from severe ecological degradation because as the earth has warmed, that sea has also dried up. Now, eerie ghost towns that dot areas that used to be full of people are now full of toxic dust that pose a serious health issue to many of the people who live in the area around the lake. But amid this difficult situation, there's tremendous opportunity. One expert at the Department of Energy estimates that the lithium created by geothermal brines from the Salton Sea area has the potential to create 382 million electric vehicle batteries. Let me say that again, 382 million electric vehicle batteries. Talk about scaling local innovation to global reach. And to top it off, UCR's Palm Desert Center will be a crucial component of this research. But as my colleague, Congressman Raul Ruiz, has made, he's made the crucial point that at least some of the riches that are extracted from this new industry should go towards the people who've been hurt by the environmental dangers posed by the Salton Sea. This is an important challenge here for all of us, making sure that local communities benefit while they help combat global issues. Now, there's one final area where federal policymakers are making strides at this idea of empowering local communities. You may have heard, some of you, about the so-called earmarks of the federal government. This is where a lawmaker inserts a specific funding provision for a project into a broader spending bill. Unfortunately, while this was well-intentioned, the system had grown corrupt and bloated. You might have heard about the infamous bridge to nowhere. That system was entirely discarded for nearly a decade, and it meant for 10 years there were no earmarks, no congressionally directed spending, and it meant that communities lost much of their ability to work directly with Congress to address their needs. But after serious reform, a version of earmarks has returned. And now there's a competitive grant process where I and other members of Congress argue for important investments across the country. And these are ideas submitted by people here in the Inland Empire about how to make this community better. Now, my office can't come up with these ideas. Do you know where these ideas come from? They come from people at this university. And it's the university that submits these ideas to my office. And we go to bat for you. Now, here at UCR alone, we've pulled in millions to fund critical programs at the cutting edge. The UCR Inland Empire Quantum Initiative, the UCR Northside Regional Agricultural Innovation Center, the UCR Oasis Clean Technology Park, and more. This is government at its best, taking on global issues by empowering local communities and local scientists, which is what we're doing right here in the Inland Empire, especially at UCR. So thank you to UCR for putting on this excellent symposium, and to all of you for coming. I hope you will take this time to talk with each other, learn from your peers, and leave Riverside fully ready to take on the great global challenges that we all face together. And that you will go back to your own local communities with new knowledge and renewed passion. And by doing so, make the theme local to global innovation a reality. Thank you very much. Godspeed to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Congressman Takano, for spending some time with us this morning. It was wonderful to hear your remarks about our symposium this weekend. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Teresa Maldonado, the University of California Vice President for Research and Innovation. Dr. Maldonado leads the California Climate Action Initiative, facilitates the UC and statewide response to the CHIPS Act opportunities, and she's working to revitalize UC's innovation transfer ecosystem. Dr. Maldonado is a champion of team science, welcoming collaborators historically excluded from participation, and harnessing the power of the UC system to produce transformative solutions via research, research translation, innovation, and very importantly, policy.
Thank you very much. Representative Takano's remarks are just so spot on. I was just jotting down notes. Welcome to this symposium. I'm so excited to be here. This event could not be more important than right now. I am an electrical engineer. I've worked in industry, I've worked in academia, and I've worked in government, federal government. I have been working with people outside of my discipline for over 30 years. Was that nonlinear pathway a plan? Absolutely not. As you meet us more seasoned people at this meeting, you will learn that all of us got out of our comfort zone. As my career progressed and my perspective became richer with each experience, I could see that people like us could have a finger on the pulse of policy innovation and analysis. When I became an assistant professor in 1990, this was back in Texas, I had the notion to ask the question, how many engineers and scientists are in Congress in aggregate? Back then, my representative was Joe Barton, and he studied industrial engineering at Texas A&M. So I started thinking about it. Nobody knew the answer, so after some phone calls, I learned that only 6 out of 535 people in Congress in 1990, scientists and engineers in aggregate, served in that body. So this morning, I did a quick search, and I found an article published in the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers in 2020, noted that there were 11 engineers in Congress out of 535. To be fair, there were 16 physicians. You see where I'm going with this. 214 are lawyers. That's okay, we love them. And more than half of the 535 members are career politicians. These are the people who are making important decisions for our country. So mapped on top of those statistics is the reality of our world. It's very complex, it's global in scale, yet we have unique local implications of what's happening, such as existential threats, excuse me, my allergies are really killing me, like climate change and global pandemics. And its rapid emergence of over 20 critical and emerging technologies, or CETs, such as artificial intelligence, permeate all corners of our society. There is a list of critical and emerging technologies, or the CETs, published by the White House, and the first list came out in 2022. The White House had to update this list just in February 2024. That's how quickly things are moving. They had to update the list to include clean energy generation and storage, quantum information and enabling technologies, and of course, semiconductors and microelectronics. Back in the 80s, I recall when the semiconductor industry was moving offshore, and now we're trying to embrace it back as part of our economy. So we are approaching policy innovation. I have to question, are we doing it appropriately, and are we doing it quickly enough? Socially engaged scientists like you are absolutely critical for our future, absolutely critical for our future. It's great to see so many early career scientists in the NSPN and at this conference. When I was in the engineering management at the National Science Foundation, I used to hire AAAS fellows routinely. Often they were not in engineering, but they were bold enough to come and work for me in engineering. One of them, her name is Dorothy Jones Davis. She was a neuroscientist, and she came to join and work with me when MOOCs, or massively open online courses, were really emerging on the scene, as well as makerspaces. And so she took a deep dive into those trends that were changing very rapidly. The NSF was not really up to speed in MOOCs and makerspaces. She quickly engaged the entire NSF. She organized workshops, she invited visitors from around the federal government, academia. She was a pistol. And neuroscientists working in engineering and laying a roadmap for NSF to explore how MOOCs and makerspaces could impact how we prepare scientists and engineers in the future. She's just awesome. And I had other AAA fellows who made equally great impacts. More recently, I worked with the Director of Precision Medicine in the Governor's Office, Julianne McCall, and I understand she's going to be here at the meeting. I don't know if she's here yet. Oh, my God. Hi, Julianne. Let me put on my eyeballs. So we got to know each other very well last year. She gave me a phone call, said, you want to work on an ARPA-H proposal? This woman is amazing. You need to go talk to her. She pulled together a national network, all 50 states, of over 200 partners within 1 month to go after an investor catalyst hub. We got a site visit by ARPA-H. It's a new federal agency. And we were very, very strong. We did not get the hub, but because of our networks, we were able to pull together an extraordinary team of people, including industry, Kaiser Permanente, startups, et cetera. And we got out of our comfort zone. We didn't sleep much, and I think we did something extraordinary, wouldn't you say? But the point I want to make is that Julianne had CCST fellows working for her and working on this hub activity, and they were just instrumental in making this happen. So I look forward to meeting many of you today. I fly out in the morning, so I'm hoping to maximize today. I look forward to learning more about you and your interests, and just know that if you have a game plan right now, I bet you it's going to change within 3 years. So don't get discouraged or anything, but I invite you to listen to all of us, listen to each other. I do more listening than I do talking. Imagine stepping out of your comfort zone, because you're going to do that a lot. Earning a PhD is really a process, and it prepares you to get out of your lane, really. So if you plan a career in neuroscience, like linearly, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. Policy, having you guys at the table, having you run for office, and keep trying. Timing is everything. Timing is everything, and your networks are going to get richer and richer. We're going to support her, and just imagine with each speaker you hear today and tomorrow what your life could be in the near term and how you can contribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maldonado. We've already had such an amazing set of speakers. I can't imagine how great this next one will be as well. I am so glad to introduce an amazing supporter of science policy at UC Riverside to the stage. Dr. Rodolfo Torres is the Vice Chancellor of Research and Economic Development here at UC Riverside. Since I was a graduate student back when I was at UCR, he has been an integral part of the development of the Science to Policy program here on campus.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. So it's really my pleasure to welcome you to our campus. And I do that on behalf of our Chancellor, Kim Wilkos, too, who unfortunately he has some pre-scheduled other engagement, and otherwise he will be extremely happy to be here. As some of the previous speakers mentioned, particularly Congressman Takano, it's a beautiful campus, and this is one of my favorite time of the year. The hills look really green. I guess the people that call us here the Highlander arrive in this time of the year because other times don't look so green, but the wildflowers are blooming, and if you have a chance, I really encourage you to walk through campus to see not only all the construction and all the progress taking place, but also to smell the blossom of the oranges. It will really penetrate the area. You'll see what I'm talking about. And we're very lucky to be in this land, so I think it's very important that we start with our land acknowledgement, so I'm going to read it for you. We respectfully acknowledge and recognize our responsibility to the original and current caretaker of this land, water, and air, the Cahuigua, Tomba, Luiseño, and Serrano people, and all their ancestors and descendants, past, present, and future. Today, this meeting place is home of many indigenous people from all over the world, including UCR faculty, students, and staff. And we are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work in these homelands. So this is a very special time for UCR too. As Vice Chancellor for Research, I cannot hide my pride when I look at all what the campus has accomplished in recent years. So just to mention a couple of things, we were invited last year to join the AAU, that's the Association of American Universities. That's the most prestigious group of universities in North America, made of 71 institutions. 2 of them are from Canada, the rest from the United States. You cannot apply to be a member of that. You get invited to be. And it has been an aspiration of all our campus. We have the metrics to be there for many years, but we wanted that recognition to showcase to the regular world all the level of excellence in research that is taking place at this campus. Recently, we also received an innovation and economic prosperity designation for another organization of university, that's APLU, the Association of Public and Land-Grant University. And next, something that really made all of us very, very proud is that since rankings for social mobility exist, and they're run by the US and News World Report, and this is only started 5 years ago, we have been ranked either number 1 or number 2 in that list among public universities. This doesn't happen very often, that a university that excels in research, as we do, also excel in social mobility. And so that's something that makes us very proud. And I think that's something that relates very well to the mission of and the aspiration of the Science to Policy program, a fantastic program that we have heard about already, and you will learn more about it, that trains students to be active and trusted members of the public policy community. We don't only train students to be scientists, but we also prepare them to navigate and engage in policy making as communicators, as legislative advisors, and as science advocates. More than ever, higher education needs the support of the public. More than ever, we need people like you to go out and communicate to the people that make decisions in government, as our Vice President for Research mentioned, to, in a way, educate them about what could be the possible solutions that cannot be achieved without science and technology. And this program also matches perfectly with another initiative on campus that is the centerpiece of much of what my office does right now, and it's called the Opportunity to Advance Sustainability, Innovation, and Social Inclusion, or OASIS, because we want to be an oasis in the desert. And it's an overarching umbrella that encompasses some infrastructure development, and Congressman Takano, who has been a great champion of this initiative, has supported many of those initiatives, but also programmatic activities. And we encompass this into several areas on which we have a lot of expertise. And these are agricultural, technology and food security, community health and health disparity, human development, natural resources management, renewable energy and fuel, and sustainable transportation and infrastructure. We will soon break ground very near here across the highway on the Southern California, we call it SoCal, Southern California Oasis Park, which will be located in proximity with the California Air Resource Board, or CAR, which is a 400 million zero-emission facility. It will serve as a hub for research, startup incubation, and collaboration with industry. CAR's presence, combined with our campus synergy, position Riverside as a potential global center for clean air and clean energy research, innovation, and also policy development. And it's already been paying off. I just want to showcase one example. This year, early this year, the city signed a contract with a company, it's called Omio, that's coming from New Zealand, which will have their global headquarters in Riverside and will manufacture here self-driven minibuses. So hopefully, the next time you are in town for an event like this, we'll have these buses driving you from downtown, driving by itself from downtown to our campus. We create a lot of innovation in the region, and we can also create a lot of jobs. So actually, more than 20,000 jobs are created in the region because of the presence of UCR. And we are developing an ecosystem of partnership and leveraging the university, industry, government, and community coordination to create better, high-paying jobs, and in particular, address problems that affect our most underserved population. So I can talk about many accomplishments we have done in all the areas I mentioned earlier, but I think it's important to emphasize today, and for reasons of time, I want to make this short, that for us it's very important to promote inclusion, equality, and social justice. We need to find solutions to climate change, air quality, water, immigration, renewable energy, and so on. And we have the talented faculty and students and staff that can work on this area. But we also need to find solutions that do not leave anybody behind. We won't solve this problem unless we solve it for all. And so we are facing a lot of challenges, but I'd like to think them about opportunity. The theme of your conference is from local to global, and I think this is a fantastic place to be at for that. We are facing challenges that are of national and global nature, and we have here the solutions, and we have here a way to explore solutions that can be scalable and then push back to other regions. So I want to conclude by saying that please take full advantage of this event. There are great speakers, their presentation, breakout sessions, exhibits, and so on. More importantly, I think, start building your network. The previous speaker mentioned this already. It's so important to meet people, to talk, don't be shy. Just introduce yourself, especially the student, and get to know others, and get to know what is going on, and you will find that you can contribute to that. In fact, I want to inspire me to think about bees. We are all in a hive, right? We are a member of the same colony. We all have a role to play. And none of us cannot contribute. I mean, we all contribute. We all have an opportunity. Don't think anything that you do is small. Everything has an important, and is needed for the common good. So I'm looking forward to the program. I have several other activities, so I will be coming in and in and out of the sessions, but I'm looking forward to meet many of you. I want to congratulate again the Science Policy Program for all what they have done over a year and for putting together this fantastic event. And again, I hope you have also a chance to have some good time and walk around campus. And I'm looking forward to get to know many of you. Thank you very much.